Welcome to the Daisy Blue Fashion Variety Show. I am Nancy Blizzard, your host, and my guest today is Francis Roces.
Hi, Nancy. Thank you for having me here. My collection is called Kimono Dragons, and I've started that company since '99. I started in high school. I didn't want to do PE, so I did a home ec elective in high school and got introduced to the sewing machines, commercial patterns, and how to sew. And from then on, I was like, I want to keep doing this. Other than high school, I went to design school for 6 months in the Philippines, sewing classes and some business at the Emily Griffith Opportunity School. I was able to then go to Westwood College to get a Bachelor of Science in Fashion Merchandising. The idea of always learning, like the fashion shows, I always learn. I'm learning how to interact with different people, different cultures, with people who work the backstage of a fashion show, to people who organize these fashion shows, to models, makeup artists, photographers, because that all those elements make our industry.
Just explain your style.
My style is retro Asian. Everything Asian always catch my eyes. The Chinese brocades, the sash belts of the Japanese kimonos, sarongs, the Indian sorels, that has the baggy drop crotches. I take something Americanized and do it with an Asian aspect.
Well, what type of fabrics do you like to work with most?
I have two. I have my woven choice would be a polyester charmeuse, because it has a nice weight, it's soft, it's flowy, it comes in different colors, prints, and it has a nice shine to it. And cotton knit is my my second choice, because it's a comfortable, natural fabric that has a good stretch and fit, so I can do activewear to something structured.
So it's your favorites then, huh?
Oh yes. And then if I don't see those at the fabric store, then I break it down to wools, plaids, anything with a good texture or a 3D feel to it. My eye is quickly drawn to it. Also shiny objects. I think it's the crow in me.
The crow in you?
Yes. Well, crow likes shiny objects.
When you go into a store and pick out fabric, when you see something, do you already envision what it's going to be, or what do you do when you see a piece of fabric?
I have to make hand contact with it, feel it, and then be able to say, okay, what is this going to be? Is it just going to be a pretty dust collector, or is it going to be a dress? Is it going to be a jacket, a lining? What is it going to be? Is it worthy of coming home with me? And then if it's a maybe, it goes in the cart, and I walk around and then decide later on. But if it's a yes, then I hold it close to me, because I don't want to. I feel like if I set it down, put it somewhere, it would be lost. So if it has an emotional charge to me, then I hold it close.
Do you use both new fabric and recycled fabric, or
yes.
How do you?
I have created sash belts, almost a smaller version of the OB belt, and I would take 2 neckties and like splice the two widest parts overlapping each other to create a long sash to wrap around a dress or a kimono. And I always like to incorporate the new with the old, because that's pretty much what the present is that you have a little bit of the past and you have a little bit of the future. And when you put those two together, you have the present. I always try to go through all my collections of ribbons, trims, laces, and be able to like, okay, how am I gonna combine all these elements into one something that's cohesive and not look like a costume. In my past experiments with when I was putting together mixed match prints and things like that, I would make something to me is cool, but then when I show it to other people, they're like, why? And I was like, why not? But then if a few years later, if I bring that piece back around, and people will be like, oh, that is so cool. I love how you combine the pieces. And I was like, okay. If it doesn't work one moment, it doesn't mean it's going to be a waste. So I always hold on to it and bring it back and say, is it relevant this time around? And if it's yes, then it stays out. And if it's not, then I was like, okay, I'm going to have to figure out how to rework this, revisit it later on when times change. I don't do clothing labels because people cut them out anyways because they make you itch in the back of your neck. So I've been using applique pieces that I have found around on the internet and stuff like that, or what I made applique hand cutouts that I would put on my clothing.
Oh.
So it's my form of label without being a label. I've purchased applique lace skulls from the internet, and I would apply that with seam bindings to almost like my version of painting on clothing, and that'll be my identification marker.
This would be a good time to take a look at your collection.
Oh,
We can bring up some
wonderful.
models right now.
Cool. We'll start off with Melody.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Melody is wearing, the fabric is polyester chiffon with, that's lined with polyester. And the print is a retro Pucci style print in circles. And then I trimmed the front with vintage ribbon that I found at a thrift store. And the pattern is from the 70s. Which is an A-line dress.
I just love the fashion from the 60s and 70s.
Oh,
it's bold.
Oh, yes. They're amazing. It's very creative. They experimented with different styles, different cuts. And it's amazing that they could work with double knit polyester knits because they didn't have very much stretch to them. The sash belt is inspired from the obi belts that Japanese women would wear. The mandarin collar is the very Chinese, along with like a flared sleeve. The purchaser of the dress, they can wear it with the belt or without. So it's the pattern is an A-line dress, so they feel being free and flowy. They can wear it without the belt. If they feel that they want to be a little more cinched, then they can do the belt. It's not traditional Asian dress nor American.
Yeah.
So it's like a combination of the two. And then we'll go with Kayla.
Do you have a preference for colors?
I usually go for the reds, like pinks, reds,
Yeah.
colors because they're usually very vibrant, and I'm starting to go toward colors that are not exactly inside my comfort zone, like yellows, greens, and I still waiting for the moment where I like brown, because it's hard for me to feel anything from brown. But so right now I like blues, a lot of the spectrum of colors. Pink had been like hot pink, fuchsias had been a lot of attraction for me, because I always liked red and I can't wear red. So I was like, okay, then I'll just put it into my collection. I'll design in red, and so because I just love colors.
This is really
Yeah.
pretty. So tell me about this dress.
This dress, the print of the fabric is the inspiration of the dress, because it it is very futuristic. So it it's my looking into the future with a little bit of the past, because once again we have a sash belt that has the two vintage neckties, and then her neck, the lace around her neck is a vintage lace trim that I found in a thrift store, and then the ruffle around the hem of her skirt came from a dress in the 80s. And then we'll do Cassidy. And then the fabric that I found that has the kind of Asian motif rondelles in the dress. And it's a cotton twill stretch. And then the metallic trim is a silk brocade. And the dress inspired me by that movie, In the Mood for Love.
Oh.
Which is set in the 1950s, and the dress that the main character wore was the structured chusan with the very high stiff collars, and she's always put together. And when I saw the fabric, I was like, I need to make something like that, something that would always remind me of that time and era.
Yeah.
Because I love the print on this dress, because it made me think of that, and the belt has a retro feel to it. And once again, the fabric I use for the belt is from a throw pillow.
It's got to be fun to go to the fabric store, right?
Oh,
it's got to
I
be
could spend a whole day. To me, that's my candy store. I can just look at fabric, touch fabric. And then we have Veronica.
Is the belt a tie too?
Yes,
Tie?
two neckties.
Two neckties.
Yes. One 70s, and then the plaid one is from the 80s, because it's more squared off.
Oh, yeah. Is it thin too? Because there was always thin
Yes,
ties
it's
in
thinner.
the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah, the thin ties in the 80s.
The Chinese dress has the side openings with the little frogs, and they get very creative about that. But to make something like that takes time. So it's a fake side front
Okay.
to make it look, and also be able to give the eye a direction, because then it adds length to her.
Oh, okay.
Because they'll start with the top and then follow the gold trim down her body. Then it gives her a length. Because right now the rondelles on the dress is round, so it gives the eye a direction to focus, and also help break up the pattern a little bit and give color to a somewhat dark dress. The way the rondelles printed, it just makes me think of almost like a sea creature. things like that is what I try to find in a fabric store, because then it gets my mind working, going, that once I have that fabric, I just want to run home and make it into something.
Oh my gosh. And how does it feel when you see your models walking down the runway?
I am in awe. In each show, the models are walking, doing what they do best and looking amazing and making my creations come alive. Right now, I've taken my designs like toward more active wear.
Oh, okay.
With a mix of, because then that's a challenge, trying to introduce a Asian element to active wear, because it's all stretched knits, it's hoodies, leggings, and whatnot. And then I'm like, how am I going to put the Asian touch to something like that? Because you don't see stretch brocade anywhere. I don't think they make that anywhere. So I taken inspiration from like Tokyo streetwear, where everything is layered, everything is multicolored, either dark, black and white, neon colors, or pastels. Activewear is now it's becoming mainstream fashion. So it's, instead of being just function, now it's becoming function and fashion. The popularity of the yoga pants that is coming about now, you're finding them, instead of just the basic black and gray, you're finding them in printed colors, in cutouts, in mesh peekaboo areas, and the tops that you're wearing. The sports bra is not exactly the normal sports bra. It still has the function, but then you have 20 million straps going this way and that way, and crisscrosses in the back, and things like that, that you could wear it with a mini skirt and go out clubbing. I feel like almost like a kid doing these shows. So you hit different demographic audience, and you're exposed to people who normally wouldn't see modern Asian fashions or come to a fashion show or be able to see that Denver does have a thriving fashion industry. I remember when there was only 5 of us that I know of that was a local designer. Now I could count 2 hands and 1 foot, and it's still growing. And I've known designers that come in from out of state and move here to open their business here in Denver. So I know it's growing. We are becoming the midway hub for fashion, because we're not New York, we're not West Coast.
Yeah.
So we have an opportunity to create our own sense of identity in the fashion industry here.
Thank you for watching the Daisy Blue Fashion Variety Show here at Denver Open Media with my guest today, Francis Roces.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I am so honored to be here.
I'm so glad you were here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
It's
you're
been great.
Thank you. Have a wonderful night.